Welcome back to Kim Fixes Things. For months, Buff Del Campo has been asking me to do a willet run on this 1971 Triumph Spitfire. There's some previous videos of me rolling it off the trailer, and it has been parked in the yard here. Let's do a walk around. I'll tell you about the car. One of the first things we needed to do was get some tires on the car. We put tubes, we drilled some temporary rollers and put tubes in the front tires because 13-inch tires are kind of rare, and I don't know, we're not buying tires until it runs because I'm not made of money. We'll see how it goes before we do anything like that. There's something important in the trunk to show you, so I figure we'll start there. Along with the holes, which are really bad, as you could see, there is already somebody piped in an auxiliary gas tank. And I would say by the age and condition of the tank that it hasn't been run in any meaningful way in quite some time. A long time. So, based on that, we're going to need fuel system before any running is going to happen. It's got these fancy hood latches. They call this a bonnet instead of a hood. The latches on the bonnet. Let's check the other side because it's not going. Okay, other bonnet latch. Now we got to get it from the middle. Yeah, this is the most convenient thing to do with just one hand. Just lift the hood on a Spitfire. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Do we have Hornets yet? No. Do we have a way to rest the hood on anything? There's no stop. It's coming all the way. Here it comes all the way. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So, it's a neat little thing. So, I don't believe that for a second that the fuel system is going to be in any kind of working order. It sat up for 10 years with no one starting it or running it. The engine does turn by hand, which is a really good thing, and I think it's because it sat in a shed and it has this side draft carburetor, so there's no way for water to come downward into the motor, which is great. It's got this tiny, less than 1200 cc four-cylinder engine, which is complete. It's just so little. The suspension, well, let me turn you around. The suspension is just like super ultra miniature of what you would see with real suspension. My finger is bigger around, you know, it's super tiny light duty, but he wants to build a sort of model kit car. We know that the clutch is out, but we have the supplies to repair that. The radiator actually looks good. Neat. But since I suspect the fuel system will be in garbage condition, today I want to take the carburetor off. I think it's a Solex 150, but I'm really not sure. So I want to get it off of there. I want to do a positive ID on it so that I can order a kit. And when we start the actual willet run, which we're not going to do today, when we start the actual willet run, we will begin with parts that might actually work. And with an older car like this, you know, I won't be able to get a kit off the shelf at O'Reilly's or anything like that. So I need to make sure that I have the parts on hand to actually get it going before I get too heavily invested. So I'm going to go get some wrenches once it's rebuilt to try and we'll drag this car up to the garage and do a willet run. But I wanted to show you the progress on it, and just, it's kind of a unique little thing. Now this thing, like I said, everything about it is tiny. This is This looks more like a brake line than a fuel hose, and but it moves. Whatever this variable thing is, and then the linkages all move. Look at that crazy linkage. It comes from the pedal over there. It's got a pivot point here and then a control rod. Anyways, it all kind of moves. No return spring, it seems like. And there's a lot of play in the old linkage, but it's all there. And that tiny little motor, but it fits perfect in this tiny little car. Yeah, that's where it is. So let's see. Stromberg Zenith carburetor. British made. All right. So just a couple of little bolts to get to, and we'll take it off of there and take it in the shop and work on it on the bench, because as much as I love it out here, there is mosquitoes and ticks, and we don't want to spend too much time out here. And if I can avoid dousing myself in copious amounts of DEET while I work today, I'd be okay with, you know, not do that. All right. Probably should stick something in there so the wasps don't make nests in there, because they do that around here. So we'll do that, and then we'll got to get out of here before they eat us alive. God! If you've ever heard the terminology shade tree mechanic, and you don't quite have experience with that, how's she for a shade tree? She's a big old oak tree. And that keeps us cool. It also drops ticks and bugs on us. And lots of trash, tree trash. A little bit of mold. But, you know, getting back to nature here and working on some cars. Alright, the first step to a carburetor rebuild is you want to hose the whole thing down with some type of penetrant, something greasy and slimy. Really get it goobed up so stuff starts to move. This Berryman will be good for dissolving guck once we get this carburetor open. Power lube seems to work. Just make sure it's something chemical and preferably flammable. And then you're going to want screwdrivers that are not all rounded off, or, you know, nice and square and of the approximate size that you need. Like, you don't want to just grab any screwdriver. You want to grab the screwdriver that's good for working on carburetors, because these are going to, if you twist one of these off, it's going to haunt you for a long time. It helps sometimes to spray some lubricant in the back. It helps to tap gently on the housing, work it in there. Make sure you get some underneath the washers and stuff like that of all these kinds of solvent, or even if it's not very solvent, just a little bit of lubricant, because there's going to be dried aluminum and it doesn't want to move when there's that in there. So you could soak the whole thing overnight. This one is not so bad. It's just not that bad. I've already got stuff moving a little bit without too much trouble. Let's see if I can get it one-handed here. See, that one moved with one hand. So when you get an easy one, you know, you just thank your lucky stars. And if it isn't easy, soak it before you start. Anyways, I'm going to take this apart. I'll bring you back when I get this bowl off, because we'll get to see how much fuel contamination has gotten through whatever filter and pump system they had set up. Alright, I'm going to see if I can get this bowl to pop while you're looking, because I haven't had it off yet. I guess I gotta take that screw off? Is that a screw? This is unusual. See, I've never... Oh yeah, yep, that's a screw. Okay, I've never worked on one of these British things. So, and it's a side draft carburetor. It's different. But you know, nuts and bolts. You just take it apart, see what you got. It's dry, it's been dry, no one's even tried to run them. That's not so bad. I mean, that's really not so bad. Like, I mean, obviously it would not have been a good idea to try and run it like that. It would have just sucked that stuff up into the jet. We can clean that out. So far things are looking positive. There's our needle and seat. Okay, it actually looks like somebody might have replaced that at some point. Maybe last time they Willet runned it. So we may be in luck there. This is looking good so far. Sometimes on an assembly, if you have a screw that just doesn't want to let go with the Phillips head, you can grab with some Knipex or with a set of vice great necks and get her started, which I already did here, but I was trying to show you just the concept of if you can grab the outside of the screw, you can twist with a lot more force. And that, you know, obviously not every one, but sometimes if you got a really feisty one, and this beats drilling them out. Always lubricate. Sometimes tapping on the head will help release it. If you just smack it with a hammer right there, it will loosen its tension in there. But we've gotten everything apart so far, so we're going to take this assembly. I have no idea what this, I've never worked on this type of, and I took this off, and there's red in there like it's got transmission fluid in it. But in order to take this like main jet out, I need to take this up out so I can tap it down through. I think it's pressed in there, and I can't get it from below, so I think I need to be up here and tap it out. I don't know yet. I'm learning. I'm trying not to damage anything, but at the same time I don't want to be too timid because you know, I could put any kind of carburetor on an engine, but we'll see if we get this apart. It's going well. Alright, I kind of feel like somebody has put a kit in this at one time. That diaphragm is soft. It came off without any hassle. The needle, you can't really see it, but it definitely is going to need a polish. It's coarse a little bit. It just needs cleaned up. Everything moves like it's supposed to, so that's great. And I can get right, like I said, at that jet now with a punch, and just I'm using even this gasket came off in one piece. Gently, of course. I just pick at it a little bit around the sides. Don't just try and yank it, you know, but it came off, and so I really think it had a kit in it, and then somebody ran some garbage gas into it and then let it sit, but it's all here. But yeah, I'll punch that out, use this roll of tape as backing so that it can fall out of there. Okay, she came out. Can I get a focus here? Okay, came out. I'm just going to polish it up maybe on the wire wheel. I thought that there would be ports in the side or something like that, but there's not. So clean up and just push it right back in there where it belongs. It's pretty simple. Yeah, just tapped it out real gentle like, and yeah, nice. Alright, I don't have a gun brush this small to really do this upright, but I do have a drill index, so I don't want to ream, I just want to clean. I just want to swirl it around in there, knock everything loose. You see there's a pretty good amount of material that's bound up in there, and then I could spray through with some carburetor cleaner, get anything that remains. But some mechanical action will far exceed any power that the solvency alone will do. But we don't want to mess with that. Maybe I'll find a drill bit. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'll get a file for that. I'll be right back with the part for there. Okay, in addition to our drill index, which goes down to, as you can see, a pretty small size, Another great tool to have on hand for its purpose, which is maybe you get it from a welding supplier. And this is for cleaning tips. They're little files for cleaning your welding tips. Okay, but those files are going to be in various, you see they get smaller and smaller, and they've got little teeth on them. Now, the point of doing this to this is not to file it. We're not changing the size of this. We're just using the edges of these tools to poke out the holes and gently remove any contaminants. You know, we're gentle. We're brushing it. We're not filing it. So don't change the size. Don't drill the port. Just with your fingers, gently rub all around in there until it's clean. Go a size smaller, you know what I mean? And then whatever's left, try and get it with the chemicals. But yeah, this is a great little tool to have around. And if you're doing any welding, you'll need those to clean out your tips. But also great for carburetors to get in with those super small little ports and make sure that there's no gunk in there. You'd be surprised how much gunk you'll get out of anything where fuel flows through. For some reason, they just deposits and stuff build up. So upon inspection, I don't think this particular part needed to come out. It seems to be factory pressed in, so we need to press it back into the body. Like, I don't recommend you take it out. Just clean it as best you can in place. But what we're going to do is we put it in place. I made this short piece of steel tubing that fits over it so that I'm not pressing. So I'm pressing on the collar, not this rinky-dink end. And we'll push that in. We'll put... okay. That will go there. We'll put a plate over this side, and then we will use a C-clamp, and we will slowly, gently press it back in until it is in where it needs to be, so that we can continue with reassembly, because I don't think there's a whole lot more I want to do with this carburetor. Now that everything is washed out of it, we're going to put it back together and see if it'll run. Alright, the clamp worked really good. It is returned to its place of origin. That's right what it looked like before I took it out. It was sitting down in there just a little bit. Align it on my block just enough. Put it there and just give it a gentle tap, and I can feel that it is firm. It is not moving. And I mean, it's seated. It's not coming back out of there, and it's in the right place, aligned, ready for reassembly. Maybe we'll take this out and blow this passage out to make sure that the fuel doesn't have anything in that that's going to immediately contaminate.